A warm welcome to our esteemed audience. We are delighted to have you join us today for this webinar hosted by Hayford Integrated Training Institute. At Hayford, we take immense pride in being a leading educational institution based in the heart of Dubai, UAE. Our institute offers a diverse range of professional trainings that cater to the ever-evolving demands of various industries. Our mission is to empower individuals with the knowledge and skills necessary to excel in your respective fields. Hayford holds the esteemed title of being approved learning partners of two renowned organizations, the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA, and Continuing Professional Development, CPD, UK. This accreditation speaks volume about the quality of education and training we provide to our students. Our institution offers an array of comprehensive courses, including, but not limited to finance, certification in anti-money laundering, supply chain management, human resources, procurement, sales, and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Swati Arora, who will be moderating today's webinar on targeted financial sanctions. Swati is an accomplished professional with over 15 years of experience in accounting, auditing, and various advisory roles across multiple industries. She is the co-founder and partner of Hayford Integrated Training Institute, where she has been an integral part of the team. Not only Swati is proficient in her financial duties, but also excels in client relations and company liaisons. As a moderator in this webinar on targeted financial sanctions, we can be confident that Ms. Swati Arora's vast expertise and leadership skills will provide a valuable insights and facilitate productive discussions on this crucial topic. We are honored to have her as a moderator for this event. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Swati Arora.
Thank you, Anupama, for your kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on sanctions, and I thank you all for taking out time from your busy schedules. I'm sure you'll have a fruitful webinar today and take away some important insight on how financial and non-financial institutions can safely protect their institution from sanctions, and understanding how the regulatory body are setting up the guidelines for sanctions, and how sanctions compliance can be helpful to understand the complex structure of the organizations. So at the end of the webinar presentation, we would love to hear from you on these areas, and you can have your questions ready as and when Mr. Rizwan proceeds. Now, I would like to introduce our presenter, Mr. Rizwan Khan, whose professional journey has been marked by relentless dedication to monitoring and optimizing company performance and productivity. With an impressive qualifications including CKYCA, CTMA, ICA, CAMS, ACAMS, AJK, and so on. There's a long list. And being a member of Harvard Business School, Mr. Rizwan Khan brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to us. He has worked in ensuring compliance with the Central Bank of UAE's regulatory requirements and maintaining positive audit ratings. We are fortunate to have you, sir, Mr. Mohammad Rizwan, and it's our esteemed pleasure to have you at our webinar as a speaker today. And I'm confident that your insights and expertise will make this event truly enlightening and enriching for all the attendees. Please join me in extending a warm welcome. Mr. Rizwan Khan, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swati, and thank you very much, Anupama. And as I told, as Swati told, today, it's very exciting topic which we have chosen, like the sanctions related. And in this, we will discuss most related to what are the recent sanctions regimes and what are the new typologies coming into the sanctions. We will also discuss today, what are the targeted financial sanctions, what are the sanctions related to the proliferation financing. So that we will discuss in detail. So for that, I have established one PPT for this, and I will go through the PPT, and in which I will try to explain, I will try to narrate how the sanctions are important and how we need to adherence with the sanctions compliance. So we will discuss that one. So recently, what the new developments are coming into the sanction, that we will also discuss. So purpose of the sanctions, first we come here, what is the purpose of the sanctions? Basically, the sanctions can provide an alternative use of the force in relation to changing an nation's behavior. Sanctions may be used for the deterrence, prevention, and punishment. So basically, the objective is of the sanctions is this, that when there were earlier wars, to mitigate this risk spread rather than wars, like now the countries impose the sanctions to the other countries. And same like this, sanctions also come to the individuals, sanctions comes to the entities also. So the purpose is this, less to deterrent and like to stay away from the harm from those people, those who are the blacklisted, or to stay away from those companies which are not to work with them. So this is basically, this is the objective of the sanctions compliance. So if we go like at the global level, when we talk about the globalization, so sanction is used for preventing the wars, like promoting democratic values, human rights abuses, and nuclear proliferation, and prevention of the weapon of mass destruction, and freeing of the captured citizen, and restoration of the sovereign lands. So basically, like the sanctions regimes, like how it works, the United Nations gives the sanctions to the countries, those who are involved into the dismantling the democratic values, or like those who are the abusers of the human rights. So basically, the United Nations impose the sanctions on to those countries, and same like this, some individuals and the entities also come under this radar. So this is the purpose of the sanctions.
So,
Then
sir,
we come.
sorry
Yeah,
to
please.
interrupt. In a layman language, I can say that sanctions are used at international level to control these sort of breaches. That is,
Yeah, these
yeah.
are sort of bridges, because you see, like some countries, those who not adhering with the democratic values, and they have the dictatorships. So they're like, so what happened? Like UN impose the sanctions on them to like to stay away from like this thing, because they are taking the liberty of the people. So this is
Yes.
like this. Basically, the perspective is this, and sometimes like some if there are some human right abusers and they are like not adhering with the UN guidelines, so then UN also impose the sanctions. So this is the way, like to obstruct all these concerns, the sanctions are imposed. So sanction regimes like are the either referred to by the issuer of the set of the sanctions, or intended purpose of the set of the sanctions. And examples include OFAC. So OFAC is one of the like US Treasury Office which impose the sanctions. And mostly OFAC sanctions comes from the UN. So UN gives the sanctions to OFAC, and then OFAC also implement accordingly. And some sanctions by United States, they have their own sanctions program in which accordingly they impose the sanctions. Like Iran sanctions. The US also has imposed some sanctions onto the Iran, which is like unilateral sanctions which they have imposed into the composite perspective. So these sanctions are also coming from the United Nations. Meanwhile, United States has also issued the sanctions against Iran. And same like this North Korea.
Sir,
So
which is the platform maybe where we can see these sanctioned companies or blacklisted companies, or we should refer to them?
Yeah, very good question. Like United Nations issues this list, and United Nations, they keep updating those lists, like related to the individuals, related to the entities, and also related to the jurisdictions also. So you need to follow like United Nations list. And as per the regulatory guideline, you also needs to follow the local central bank list here of Executive Office of Control and Proliferation Department, Executive Office. And also you need to, so these two lists you need to follow, like local regulator list and the United Nations list. But if you are dealing also with the some perspective related to the foreign currencies, especially in dollars, or like foreign clients or the US citizens you are dealing, so you also need to abide with the OFAC guidelines as well.
Okay.
So these are basically lists mostly commonly used. But your point is only two lists, United Nations list and your local regulator list. Good question. So North Korea, like sanction regime, depending on to the context, a sanction regime may be limited to the one countries or multiple Swati, can you check like there is some question is also coming into the chat box, so you can take care of those questions also because we need to.
Maybe we can take it right now. Ms. Gauri,
anytime you can take the question because the objective of this webinar is to give maximum awareness and education to the our audience. And
certainly. So it is on a specific slide of OFAC itself. Ms. Gauri is asking, we can subscribe for OFAC sanction list to get the list whenever it is getting updated with new individuals and entities. That's the question.
Yes,
if we can
subscribe. You can do this. Yeah, you can integrate OFAC list also into your systems. And OFAC list, honestly, I tell you, like time to time, they are also updating. So when new update is coming from the OFAC, so it will be updated. So you, for the safer side, you need to keep this list also into your system. So it will help you out to more understanding. By the way, there is a one also website is available, OFAC, Instant OFAC. So if you go to the Instant OFAC, so this, it is also giving like that up to what percentage the match is coming. So all program is also there. So this is free of cost. You can go and you can consult that website, OFAC Instant also as well. So now, I'm coming to my point, my slide, like why sanction exists. Basically, like sanctions are implemented or exist because to disrupt the military adventures or freedom and democracy, like hastening the achievement of the freedom and democracy, environments like cleaning up the environment, nuclear proliferation, human rights or like rebel rights or the freeing of the captured citizens and the capture of the lands and reduction in money laundering. This is an important point. Like reduction in money laundering is a very important point in the sense because money laundering is a big challenge. And sanction evaders, they take the advantage of this thing that they misuse the country's resources and they do the money laundering. And money laundering is also associated with the sanctions evasion. So sanctions evasion is one of the part of the money laundering. So therefore, yes, it's a sanctions implementation, sanctions embargoes, penalties are there if like any company, any country will involve into the breaching the sanctions regime. So then we have the reduction in trafficking in illegal goods. So illegal goods is also a concern. So these are the major areas if you see like military, freedom and democracy, environmental, nuclear, human rights, free citizens, or like land or money laundering and terrorist financing and illegal goods. So most vital as for the financial industry and DLFBP sector, we have the money laundering and terrorist financing, which are directly associated with the sanctions. Like in which case you need to implement the sanction, in which case you need to like prevent the sanctions. So this you need to like look into this area. It's very much important. Then we have like what is the targeted financial sanctions? So targeted, like basically the word by name, it says like it's a targeted one. And the objective of the targeted financial sanctions is to stop the flow of funds like or other assets to the terrorists, like a proliferation of weapon of mass destruction, which used into the nuclear deterrents. So basically the purpose is to stop that flow of funds and also to support and prevent like excess of the funds and other resources that are used to commit terrorist or the proliferation acts. So now like where like TFS implements onto the individuals or entities listed on the UAE local terrorist list issued by the UAE cabinet. So this is, I was saying you like you need to follow the local list, UAE list, and same like the individuals or entities listed by the United Nations Security Council, UNSCR, like council regulation we have. And if someone is highlighted over there, that list also for the targeted financial sanctions. Basically, the purpose of this to stop the flow of funds, like which are used for the terrorists or used for the nuclear deterrents, like production of the uranium, that needs to be stopped. So this is the objective of the targeted financial sanctions. So measures of the targeted financial sanctions, what you need to take the measures, and you need to freeze the funds of the designated person. When we talk about the designated person, designated entity, so it's mean like the blocked or blacklisted like entity or the blacklisted person, individual. So, and without any prior notice, you need to block that one. You need to black this thing. You don't need to freeze the funds of that customer and prevent access the funds or other assets or the services. So you need to prevent all the assets which are belonging to that customer and which are in your custody. So these are the measures needs to be taken on for the targeted financial sanctions. Now, like targeted financial sanctions, we have executive office for control and proliferation financing, and basically it's a national leader, and I really appreciate the UAE efforts. Like they are doing a marvelous job to ensure the implementation of the targeted financial sanctions imposed by the UAE, and also in the collaboration with the United Nations. And the focal authority in UAE is to coordinate like implementation of all UN imposed resolutions and the sanctions. So UN and the UAE, they are going into in a close collaboration to implement like targeted financial sanctions. And the authority is also responsible for the import and export control of the dual usage of the goods and the control. So dual usage, when we are talking about it, means that some of the product, let's suppose some chemical, like we were talking about energy related. If this energy is used for the industrial purpose, but same time this energy is also using for some in atomic like establishment of atomic bombs or like that explosions. So then like the authority is responsible to check like what sort of items are being import or export. So this is the responsibility to control over the dual usage of goods. And it should be properly understood that it is used for the legitimate purpose. Then we have like executive office role into the target financial sanctions implementation. The focal authority to ensure the implementation of the TFS in UAE and coordinate and exchange information between government agencies, and also to the local terrorist and UN consolidated list. So one important point which is for all my participants is audience is important, that you need to keep update your list with the local authorities, and you need to ensure this thing like the all with the sanction, the block person which they have highlighted, it is properly updated in your systems. Because if you will not update, and when the regulator, they will conduct the examination, they got to know like there's a gap. So then it will become into the very high severe finding into your regulatory examination. So that you need to take care of it.
So sir,
And
these
also,
are our steps. These are our steps after we find out the blacklisting and the sanction, what are our sanctions, or what is the step to, after we find?
Actually, like a step is, yes, these are those steps. Basically, like you need to keep update yourself with what is like which company name or which individual name is highlighted into the local terrorist list or any UN consolidated list. So we need to ensure this thing as a compliance professional, that this information is properly updated into our system. Because if we will not ensure this thing, and when regulator will conduct the examination and they got to know like we have not done this thing, so then it will be a problem. And yeah, so receive and process application to use frozen funds as per the sanction list. Obviously, the person who will be under the blocked or the sanction, so his funds will be frozen. And receive and process grievance to the related to the local terrorist list and the United Nations list. So in close collaboration, you need to follow like these two lists. So now I'm coming like the most important part of my presentation, because I have seen that some people are not familiar with still not familiar with the cabinet decision of the 74 of 2020. And basically it sets out what is like all about the 74, what it have the expectations. So we will discuss a little bit. It is like setting out the framework for implementing targeted financial sanctions in the UAE. And the person who will involved into the target financial sanction, or like any corporate is involved. So there is a complete like implementation of targeted financial sanction on them. So we need to follow like the guidelines of the cabinet decision number 74. This is a very important part of our compliance. And when you establish the AMS-CFT policies and the sanctions compliance program for your companies, so you need to incorporate this cabinet decision also into your manuals for the related to the targeted financial sanctions. And
Sir,
define the...
Sorry,
Yeah.
what is EOCN here, which we're mentioning in the second point?
Yeah, basically this is the authority, and basically this is the local authority for executive office for control for the non-proliferation financing. So basically this authority has the objective to mitigate the risk of the sanction evasion, and to highlight the blacklisted people, those who are the avoiding the sanctions or evading the sanctions. So that is basically, this office is doing a great job, and they have the complete mechanism in which they are guiding the all financial institution and DNFPP sector into the UAE related to the sanctions. And so this is, and they are also giving the awareness related to the targeted financial sanctions to the all audiences. So define the...
If I may ask you in a layman language, what is the impact of cabinet decision number 74 on the companies? If you can just, exact impact you can emphasize.
Yeah, impact is very clear, and impact is just to keep aware yourself with the sanctioned people, basically. Like, because what is happening, the sanction evaders are very much smarter, and what they do, like they do different tactics to evade the sanctions, because when they come to do any transaction with the financial institution, so sometimes they misspell their names, or like they use some reputed company's name also. So they use different techniques. And if you have not implemented your TFS program according to the cabinet decision number 74 of 2020, you will not able to highlight them, you will not able to identify them, and you will not able to prevent them. So therefore, like this circular in 2020 it came, and its like main objective is this, to comply with the sanctions compliance, and especially related to the targeted financial sanctions. And keep your like list updated with the recent names, with the recent entities, and conduct your complete sanctions compliance according to the regulatory guidelines. So define the procedure to process grievance requests, including delisting and access to the frozen funds and lifting of the freezing measures. So the all mechanism, because when some person comes under the sanctions, so there are some measures, like sanction measures come on him, like maybe some freeze of fund. So in freeze of fund, like if there is an appeal is filed like to like non-freeze, so the investigative authority also like conduct their investigation on that particular cases. So sometimes some people are under the sanction up to some period of time, and after that they are removed from the list. So therefore you need to keep your list updated. And one more point which I was thinking, that you need to also check like your existing customer, like current customer which you are have right now, and your like the previous customer also which you are having the history in under your sanction list, that your sanction list filter should work on them also. Maybe if someone is not sanctioned tomorrow, yesterday, but maybe today he is under sanction, or that company was not under sanction earlier on, but now this company is under sanction and you are dealing with them. So therefore, if you will not keep your records updated, so this problem will come. Swati ji, you can check the question in the box, I think so.
I think, sir, we'll take the questions at the end because we should finish the slide.
Okay, it's coming too much. Okay, no
Let's
problem.
do that. Let's finish.
Okay. Okay. So this cabinet decision, like who does TFS apply to? So cabinet decision 74 of 2020 enforce targeted financial sanctions. They say UAE terrorist and UN consolidated list. And TFS measures apply to any person designated in this list. And also any entity like directly or indirectly controlled by any person designated in this list. So this point is very much important. You need to understand, like, if there is a one partner into the list, and if this partner is under the list is sanctioned, so you need to take care of that also. That if you started the work of that person, like that company, which like one shareholder is under the sanction, and you are, so your risk will also increase. So you need to prevent that risk also as well. So any person or acting on behalf or at the direction of any person designated as above both, so you can include like these two also. So basically it's covering the scope of first and the second both. So then we are coming like financial measures and the consequences. What will happen, like what you need to do? You need to freeze like without delay, and freezing of the funds is required in the case if there is a block match case. But before this block, I need to explain you one thing which is important, that there should be a complete mechanism, and you should be very clear if some exact match came, so where you will park the money of that person in your accounts, what the title of account you have maintained there in your trial balance. And then accordingly, you need to inform through the GoAML system, through the fund freeze report, to the authority also, financial intelligence unit also. So that is your obligation that you need to do in that case. Freezing of real estate or the freezing of the gold. And there are some prohibitions also, like you will not allow to service to create, operate or manage business. You will not allow any person who will be under the sanction, like to transfer ownership of the assets, or you will not allow to buy or sell the real estate who is under the sanction. Now, like non-compliance of the consequences for TFS, if TFS is not properly followed, what is highlighted into the targeted financial sanction, if this SOP is not followed, so what will happen? So financial sanctions, it will implement the financial sanctions, then a suspension, restriction or prohibition of the activity, business, profession causes either revocation or withdrawal of the business license. Sometimes some business activities also downgraded when a company is dealing with any sanction. So therefore, or like engage themselves into some sanctions affairs. So then what the regulators do, they downgrade the facility, or sometimes they revoke the license also. So that is a very much worry, and supervisory authority may determine a ban of certain individual from employment within the relevant sector for a period of time. This also happened. There was a case in MoneyGram, and like compliance officer was involved into the money laundering, and the sanctions came to him, and he was also penalized, and also he was some sanctions personally came to him also. So because I have studied that case, so that is like individuals are accountable. Individuals are accountable with the corporates. Corporates are also accountable for the sanctions, same like the individuals are also accountable. Then like increased scrutiny of the future actions from the UAE government, maybe like more tougher like scrutinies will started, like the person who will engage themselves into the targeted financial sanctions. So TFS implementation, like how we can implement the TFS and like in our systems. So first of all, we need to integrate our executive office notification system to receive automated emails notifications or any updates. Then you need to take like ongoing screening on the local terrorist list and UN consolidated list. So this is the way you can implement the targeted financial sanctions program implementation. Screening should be conducted in following circumstances. Upon any update is coming, so you need to keep update your records. And same like if you are onboarding some new customers, so you need to do your sanction screening related to the targeted financial sanctions related to the individuals and to the corporates. And then before processing any transaction, screening should include like existing customer database. So you need to conduct the existing customer data, customer screening also. And also new customer needs to be screened. Meanwhile, you also need to screen to the beneficial owners and the parties to those who are associated with the transaction. So those transactions you also needs to be screened. So screening results, there will be some results will come, some match cases will come, and some partial name match will come, and sometimes no match will come. No match will come, you can go with the transaction, but confirmed match, you need to report through the fund freeze report, through your GoMS system. And you have the partial name match report, PNMR also, you can file to the intelligence unit as well. So implementation of the screening results, confirm match comes. So what you will do, you will freeze the assets without delay and prohibit making funds like service available. So this is very clear. Then potential customers, like if there is a PNMR, potential name, if the customer is hitting, you have the half information and the rest of the information you are trying to get from your regulator. Because you are having, let's suppose I don't have the date of birth of Ms. Sawati, but in the sanction filter, the date is coming. So, but I am not sure this is the exact case or not. So to decide this thing, I need to refer this as a partial name match report, that up to what extent it is matching. So then FIU, they have the more advanced tools than me. So they can check what is the reason of that. So that so then they will confirm us. So in this case, you can reject the customer or no match found. So obviously no action is required. It means it's a smooth customer for you and you can do with the transaction. But one thing you need to be aware that your filter should work. And you need to check what are the logs of your sanctions, what time logs are updated, and the name who is maintaining the log, who is the responsible of the log. It should also be available in your lists. So in the technical compliance, when I'm talking about, so you need to fulfill these expectations, because these will help you out into your regulatory examinations also as well.
Sir, for the existing customer, only the financial institution can freeze the asset, or even the non-financial institution?
Non-financial also. This is for the both like a DNFBP and FIs also. They can freeze the assets. And assets then, because this GoMS system also for the DNFBP sector. And they also need to follow the complete guideline for the fund freeze report and also for the partial name match report. So no one is out from the reach of it. And because it's a mandatory requirement for the firms, DNFBP sector. And same it is the mandatory requirement for the financial institutions as well.
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. So reports these two reports I have already discussed, fund freeze report and partial name match report. And these are submitted via GoMS system, as I told you, and the report are received directly by the Executive Office of Control and Non-Proliferation. So this is you need to understand this thing, the importance of this thing, that this will go directly to the authorities. And they will review this thing. They will check this thing up to what level this information which is provided to them is valuable and it is more stringent for them to work out further. So because what happens, like the FIUs, they have their own mechanism. They work like at advanced level. They investigate in more details, like all this information which you provide to them. They follow the money, they assess, they analyze the STR. They also check like through different public registries, they check. They also check like private registries. So their mechanism is little bit different, but it's at advanced level. So sanction evasion, like any attempt to disguise or conceal the involvement of the sanctions, individuals, entities, or group in a transaction. So this is called sanction evasion. It's been like the launderer is doing evasion, and the financial institutions, specifically those who are dealing with the corporate business, and especially for the remittances, they need to take care of this thing, because the sanction evaders, they try to misspell their names, they try to like give the falsified information. So therefore you need to take care of those, like when you are doing wire transaction for your customers, and especially into the large amounts like $100,000, $200,000. So in that cases, you need to be very careful. So undercover sanctions evasion and uncover sanctions evasions. So how you can uncover like from the sanctions evasion. So this is how we can improve ourselves. You can improve ourselves by raising awareness that what are the new techniques are coming related to the sanction evasion. So the best way is this, that if you will conduct, like if you will understand what are new typologies coming related to the sanctions, if you are familiar with them, so then you will be able to counter them. But if you are not familiar, like what are the new typologies coming, so it will be difficult for you. So filing STR to the FIU via GoML. So yes, you need to file an STR if you find any case to the intelligence unit, and you need to understand the risk associated with the sector. So sector wise, you need to categorize the risk, like let's suppose gold sector, risk is very high. Real estate sector, risk is very high. Financial sector, exchange houses, banks, risk is high. So that according to the sector wise, you need to distribute, like you need to apply the controls. Then private public partnership and information sharing is the best way, that if you will keep your data updated, official data related to the sanction and the company, so then definitely you will get more acquainted, like what is the information is available, which person you need to block, what is the like meta searches they are evaluating the high risk for the sanctions. So this like information, if it will be shared like under the partnership, so it will be more helpful. So now I'm coming the warning signs of the targeted financial terrorist financing. I am coming. And terrorist financing, when I'm talking about, so you need to understand like how did the terrorists finance themselves and how they move fund from one place to another place. What are the attractive points for them to do the terrorist financing? So number one, like transaction involving certain high-risk jurisdiction. So those high-risk jurisdictions which are most vulnerable towards the terrorist financing. So it can create more risk. And if there is no apparent business connection, so that is also a big vital risk for you. Inconsistent funds compared to the purpose, and negative media findings or use of the NPOs, like non-profit organization, especially Havaladar, they exploit like other alternative remittances. Those involved to exploit the NPOs like in the worldwide, because the transparency, it lacks the transparency of the beneficial owners, and it lacks like money trail, how to like from where the money is starting, from where the money is ending, and it's difficult to evaluate. So that concerns come. So yes, obviously multiple accounts of NPOs to collect the funds. So this like you need to check irregularities like during the CTD procedure. So if there are irregularities, like you are not consistent with the customer due diligence processes, like incomplete KYC, you have opened the accounts, or you are entertaining the business with not proper checklist and not following the regulatory guideline, so then the risk for the terrorist financing will be increased more. So these are very important controls which you need to apply. Then we have the proliferation financing, exactly like this, like transaction involve person in the foreign country of the proliferation concerns. So maybe someone is involved into the weapon of mass destruction, or transaction involving possible shell companies. So shell companies is a support for the proliferation financing evaders because users, what they do, like they establish the shell companies, and shell companies are those companies which are not having any single office, which are not having any employee, or not come under any regulatory banking authority visit. So they have more chance to do the proliferation financing. So they are misused. So meanwhile, identifying documents that seem to be forged, and also complex legal structures, and for arrangements that seem to aid, like, or aiming to hide the final destination of the end users. So
Sir, just I'll take a minute. I just wanted to maybe let Anupama speak for our course that we have, because that will be very helpful to candidates. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
please.
Just in a minute, and then we'll finish. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Okay. I know that everyone is eagerly waiting to hear Rizwan sir, but I would like to interrupt. Thank you, sir, for the time. I would like to introduce our new batch also. We are starting a brand new batch of certified anti-money laundering specialist scams exam training program. So in this, you can enhance your expertise in combating financial crimes and ensure compliance with the global regulations. So we have the course is scheduled to start on 12th of August, and this program is of a duration of 32 hours of instruction that will be done in 8 days of 4 hours each, which will provide a comprehensive understanding of anti-money laundering principles, regulations, risk assessments, and best practices. So upon completion of this course, you will receive a course completion certificate from Hayford, also from KHDA and CPD UK. So I urge each one of you to be a part of this course and to get certified. Most of you will be, and if you are interested to join for the course, you can always contact us, and the total course fee is around 3,500 dirhams. And as a special offer for this webinar attendees, for this webinar, we are offering a discounted price of around 3,000 dirhams, which will be valid until Sunday, this Sunday, 6th of August. And we'll be available to guide you throughout the registration process. And if you have any doubts, you can contact us, and we will be available to help you out. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Maybe if you have any doubts, by end of the session, you can stay back and contact us. We'll be happy to guide you. Thank you. You may continue, sir.
So we were talking about the SAR and STR, suspicious activity report in STR. When you have identified the red flags, you need to highlight the SAR or STR, and does not include confirmed or the partial name match or designated person, or does not involve any established like a legal relationship to a designated person. So if you have any doubt, so you need to escalate the STR or SAR. Then we have the key takeaway from like this earlier slides. I have a case today, also one very interesting case I have. So you need to implement effective training program for your employees. You need to conduct enhanced due diligence also, and you need to identify risk and understand the risk of the targeted financial sanctions as well. Then we have this case of like North Korea, like holes in the sanction wall. So how like North Korea, like they are evading like the sanctions, and basically they are under the composite sanctions, but they are evading the sanctions. They are very much successful onto this because the still gaps are there. And basically, like as per UN report on North Korea, they say like illegal ship ship transfers oil, petroleum, and coal, and cyber attacks. Like they also involved and or focused onto the financial firm they were targeting. And cryptocurrency exchange houses also attacks use of the deployment front companies they established also. So this is like the same typology which is used by the Iran, and same like they are also using the front companies and insurance firms and the banks onto the focus. So they were also targeting these areas. So basically, like illicit generation of the revenue through cyber activities, they have generated a massive and a large amount of revenues by the cyber crimes, and in which like North Korea like continuing to target like financial institution and the crypto firms and the exchanges. So, and DPRK like stole more than $50 million between 2020 and mid 2021 also, and 3 crypto exchanges in North America, Europe, and Asia. So the crypto funds acquired by the DPRK go through a careful money laundering process into the cash out. So basically they did the money laundering also, and they were like finally get benefited from the like revenue generation by this illegitimate way. So the banks and evasion, like common themes, Sudan, Iran, and Cuba, like the concerns are coming. OFAC has highlighted Office of Foreign Asset Control, like related to the cover payments, and specific like use of the special purpose vehicle, like the shell companies, like front companies, or like shelf companies, and also poor systems and controls are also impacting. So US clearings and culture of the senior management, like and lack of transparency with the regulators. So these basically like the banks were evading the Sudan, Iran, and the Cuba sanctions. So what they were trying to do, they were doing the cover payments through the banking channels to Iran, through Sudan, to Cuba, and what for they were using, and for this to achieve this task, they were using some special purpose vehicles, front companies they were using shell companies, and they were also like they were non-transparent with the regulators to provide the complete information. So this is like therefore some banks fined due to this. You remember there was a BNP Paribas bank which was fined with a very hefty penalty. So Iran sanctions like evasion network is also working, and in this network, like we have 2013 to 2017 till, like they also involved into the trade-based money laundering, and specifically to the oil tankers, they were involved into that. So this like you need to take care when you are involving any trade-related goods. So you need to take care, because the risk of the Iran sanctions is always there, and especially when like your shipment is passing through the Iran, so then the risk becomes more higher. So evasion method, basically Iran also used the same pattern. Russia is also like front companies they use the banks, and also like Iranian oil basically also very attractive to the China because it is relatively cheap. So sometimes they engage also in these type of activities. So because now you need to understand the globalization of the sanctions. If you will not familiar with the regimes, you will not able to understand. So then it will be difficult for you to prevent, because you have the documents, you have the bill of lading, you have the port of shipments, you are understanding from where the material is going from one place to another, how it will be detected if you don't have this knowledge. So you need to familiar like what are the, like how the Iran is involving, how North Korea is involving, what is the risk is arising for you. So that you need to like investigate in more details. Then we have US measures with the cryptocurrencies, like United States, like DOJ, like Department of Justice, like announces the dismantling of the 3 terrorist financing cyber-enabled campaigns and Al-Qaeda affiliated group who posed a charity. So charity also involved, and crypto, the biggest challenge comes for the anonymity donations. So through the Bitcoin. So this concern is coming in at a very high level. And 100 crypto accounts seized, like linked to the Al-Qasim Brigade, seized by the United States. So the efforts are going there, but the risk is still there. So case studies like terrorism and non-profit organizations. So basically the Indonesia Financial Transaction Report and Analysis Center, like FIU, formed a special team to respond to terrorism and terrorist financing cases. And this team identified the NPO, like there was the involvement of non-profit organization for the terrorist attack. And further they investigated, revealed the NPO had linked the member of the terrorist network. So this is the case, like you need to understand, like NPO, like non-profit organization or the charity organization or the trust sometimes becomes a very risk. So therefore you must have a complete control, and you need to state this into your AML/CFT policy also, that you are like, what are your controls to dealing with the non-profit organization or the charities. So final takeaway, this is my last slide, and like this slide is saying, like name screening is not enough, and need to identify if designated person are behind the entities you are dealing with it or not. So how you will get to know if you will not conduct the enhanced due diligence? You cannot get to know. So therefore, when you onboard a customer, so you need to know who is your customer. Therefore, we always say also KYCC also. So networks are complex. So understand the complex nature of your business, understand the complexity of your customers also, and try to understand like their behavior of the business. Then you will able to detect these things. Complex structure needs to be addressed, especially for the holding companies, shell companies. Like, so that needs to be taken care, or like private investment companies. So same, like you need to conduct the enhanced due diligence as well. And you need to understand the ownership and control of the legal person. Legal person, when I'm talking about, it's mean corporates. So in the corporate cases, you also need to conduct the customer due diligence at a very robust level. And then we have the review the business activity of the clients to consider, like trading red flags. You need to know, like you need to incorporate some red flag which can highlight all these things. And you need to establish a sanction risk assessment as a key control. So this was like all about today's webinar, which I have conducted. And I think Swati ji is very anxious and she's having some questions. So we will go through
2 questions I have. Maybe I'm not exactly from this background, so I want to understand how the NPOs and how cryptocurrency they support in terrorist funding and laundering. It would be interesting to know. And I also have a question from Shafat Mujawar, who's asking how, what is the methodology for stealing from crypto exchanges? So something similar that I would also like to know. Maybe you can brief on these 2 things. Yeah.
Actually, the crypto firms, first of all, the crypto firms should be registered and registered with some authorities. Like right now, like we have different authorities in UAE, the companies are becoming registered. We have ADGM, we have same like in UAE Central Bank, same like we have like other authorities we have. So first of all, the firms should be registered. This is one thing. The crypto like becoming a challenge in which countries the firms are not registered. And second thing, like the question, the problem is coming where the anonymity factor is very high, and like the controls are not there. Because when you open a wallet for one customer, so you need to ensure like the proper KYC is done of that customer. Because the crypto is providing a virtual platform, and in this virtual platform, always there is a risk as per the compliance. And nowadays, like, like the regulatory authority, they are like trying to regularize it, and they are trying to give a complete like framework, like how the crypto, what you say, like what is the crypto travel rule from how the money will move from the sender and it will go to the receiver. And what will be the role of the service providers, like what service providers, BSPs, which we say. So what will be that control? If you have like the complete mechanism under the light of compliance, so then you can like obstruct these challenges. And second thing, like which is coming, the NPOs, non-profit organization. Basically, non-profit organization has this sophistication or this advantage that they can open the accounts in the banks.
Yes.
And they can exist any part of the world. It's very easy for them, for the non-profit organization, for the establishment. And like what happened, like they encourage, like the money should come like in the form of donation into their account. Basically, this money which will come from the some other jurisdiction, it will be not legal money, it will be illegitimate money. But like the objective is this, that we are facilitating the like a non-profit, or we are helping to the trust, we are donating this money. Correct. So
Purpose
in this,
is something else.
Like, yeah, in this case, like this challenge arises in the sense of cryptocurrencies, and especially for the terrorist financing.
One question I have, whatever you taught us today, what if there is a non-compliance of these things? What happens to the organization in case of non-compliance?
No, compliance, like it's a very strict nowadays, and honestly, non-compliance is related to the targeted financial sanctions and the like so revocation of the license, downgrading the activities, and the personal embargoes or breachings can come. You know, like FATF, they have the 11 immediate outcomes of effectiveness, and they also highlighted like it's the that you need to comply like with the sanctions compliance. So if you are not following, so effectiveness of the country will not come. So therefore, to bring the country's effectiveness towards this, so all organization, financial institution, DNABP sector, they need to help, they need to support to the country, like related to these challenges. If we will work as a team, so definitely like this will help out into our compliance at international level also. And we will like companies will come out from this like regulatory breachings also as well. So this is the way like companies can improve themselves.
One question from the attendee I can take here if we have some time. So Mr. Cyril is asking, where can we find industry sector risk classification, which is determined as high, medium, or low? And is there a sector-wise risk classification?
Yes, you need to like there are regulatory guidelines also there. And but sector wise, yes, you need to like categorize the sectors like according to your business, that which sectors are most vulnerable towards the sanctions for targeted financial sanctions or the proliferation financing. You need to like identify those things, because some of the things which I can tell you, like some sectors, you first of all you need to maintain a list of your dual usage of goods, like which goods are used for dual purposes. So first of all you need to see this. Then accordingly, sectoral sanctions, you need to see like which sanctions has imposed into which particular sector. Let's suppose the chemicals related, there are the sanctions. So now you need to keep in target that maybe sanction evasion, sanction targeted financial sanctions can be imposed because it is involved into the proliferation financing. So this sector, like let's suppose the chemical is becoming this product is becoming a big problem for you. Same like this, you can find out like the oil and gas sector, like what are the challenges it is having towards this side. So like accordingly, you need to maintain a complete list. Like there are some guidelines, even like when you will establish your risk model, so you need to allocate the score weightage to this sector according to you, your research and investigation. That according to your investigation, you are giving the scores, like this is vulnerability is very high, then accordingly I will give. So it depends, like if you are working into the bank, so you need to see like which sector, like gold sector is a high risk sector.
Yes.
And real estate sector, you need to see like there's a guideline, Ministry of Economy has also given. So so you need to treat like gold sector, you will use, real estate sector, you will treat as a medium risk sector or a high risk sector. So that you need to decide, correct? Because this is your decision. Because if you are working in a real estate, so real estate says like we will treat our sector as a medium risk sector.
Makes sense.
They say like this is the guideline. But you as a banker, you think real estate is more vulnerable towards the money laundering.
Yes.
So then accordingly, you will give the weightage of that as well. So this is a very interesting discussion, by the way, but anyhow, you need to establish your own typologies for this, and you need to seek guidance for this also as well. So maybe like, I think Gayatri.
We have covered many
also
questions. Yeah.
Question is
Maybe
there.
one question I can read out to you. Mr. Mohammed is asking how frequently we should screen the batch files against sanctions.
What is this question? How many?
How frequently we should put the screening for the batch size? How frequently we should do the screening of the their.
See, your screening is like lifetime, and you need to what is lifetime screening you need to do. Like if you are like uploading any batch, so you need to try to understand very clearly. I'm making you, if you upload any batch to the bank, you are giving it to some other financial institution, or you are remitting the funds by uploading the batch. So you need to ensure like the all respective remitters, senders are properly have gone through the sanction filter. And so this is one thing. Second thing is this, that your filter should work like this, that today, let's suppose you are sitting, you are discussing with me, and if a customer comes under the sanction radar, so automatically pop-up should come. Yours filter should be active, waking position at every time, that they can tell you like, no, this. So what will happen, like your software integration where you have integrated the list, it is like their responsibility to keep update your all lists. So if the all list will be available and you are getting the proper alerts related to your batch uploading, so then you will be able to detect. Otherwise, it will be a problem for you. So this is the answer of your question. And yes, Gayatri, question you have also.
Yeah, she's saying if any business doesn't know about their customer and supplier, how they will know who is blacklisted, who is not? Is that only financial sectors have access?
No, actually, again, this is the SOP of the compliance for the all sectors. And again, you need to know your customers. You cannot say like if a business does not know about their customers, so I don't know what sort of business it is. Like
nothing is an excuse. Nothing is an excuse here.
Yeah, you should know like who is like customer and like what is his question, or so this you should know. And so this is important point. And one question is also there.
Yeah. Abdullah is asking, how will add the dual usage list into the system? Whole booklet we have to follow, which is issued by the executive office, or only the codes?
No, actually, you will follow the executive office guidelines. What is those guidelines? Because that is our regulatory authority. And is this list is issued, so you need to follow that guideline. There is no question about it. So this is the best way, because do is the safe and protected and secure environment compliance, because it will be helpful for your organization. Because if today you will keep ignoring your smaller thing, so one day it will be a big problem. And now the regime is totally changed, and regime is becoming more and more robust and strict related to the compliance. So conventionally, conventional method will not be helpful for you. You need to think above this, and you need to go one step above, how to implement more robust compliance.
Sir, there are many more questions, but I think we will privately answer them because we are already past 3.
Okay, no problem. So
Okay, no worries. I mean, before we sign off, I want to tell all the attendees, if you are doing the class with Mr. Rizwan, you're definitely becoming a CAMS very soon. So do join our batch starting in 12th of August. So we look forward to your enrollments. Any questions, please drop into the chat or email us or let Anupama get back to you on that. And thank you very much, Mr. Rizwan. It was a wonderful session, very knowledgeable, and I'm sure there are many key takeaways for all the attendees today. And hopefully you will see all of them again in the batch.
I'm very thankful for all of the participants because all from the industry, and mashallah, mostly people I know very well. And this is the way we like keep doing the webinars through the Hayford forum or through AJMS forum. So this is like our like routine practice. We do the webinars. And I will encourage, like, if you have any question, you can directly call me. You can directly talk to Swati ji also, and you can ask them questions also. So we will try to respond to those questions. And I will say thank you to all of my audience and our audience. And I'm extremely thankful for Swati ji also.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Who conducted this in a very amicable manner. And Anupama also, I'm very thankful for you. And also, like, thank you very much, Anupama. I hope you will be, inshallah, successful in your goal for your CAMS compliance and program. And also, I'm thankful for our teammate, like Ajay. I'm also thankful for you for this wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
You.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Have a